creeping up on him.
There's a lot of accumulation of tire rubber up there on the upper groove, and I think he may have got in the marbles, as they're called in racing terms.
I think he did. There he goes up. The rear catches the wall. That brings the front around and looked almost identical to Rick Matt's situation.
Well,
and we can see all the marbles that you're talking about. Those dark spots up, that's loose rubber. And he's still dropping back. As Ned said, his son Dale went by. Now Ricky Rudd moves up to challenge.
Rudd currently being shown in 5th position. Bodine is 4th. So it's Mark Martin leading the race. Kyle Petty is 2nd, and Kyle Petty is gaining on Mark Martin right now. And Dale Earnhardt and Rusty Wallace have pulled away from Mark Martin. Mark doesn't seem to be running as fast right now as he was before they made those pit stops.
I think he's fallen behind the 26 car, Brett Bodine. He's probably a little faster, but I think that Brett has upset his timing, Ned.
Okay.
And he's running in the same groove that Mark wants to run in, and it's very difficult to get under him up in the corner because he's in almost the same tracks he wants to be in.
To make a maximum speed lap, you got to have the whole racetrack.
Exactly.
Around here. You can't be shut out anywhere on it, or it'll affect your speed by a half to sometimes a couple of seconds.
And there Kyle Petty came into the frame. You can see he's just a few car lengths behind Mark Martin.
Kyle Petty now in 2nd position behind Mark Martin with 113 laps completed at Darlington. Stand by. We'll be back in a minute. Kyle Petty, Dale Jarrett, Ken Schrader, and Ricky Rudd with 116 of 367 laps completed in the NASCAR Winston Cup Transouth Financial 500 from Darlington. Our Speed World coverage is being brought to you by Fram Oil Filters. Fram, you can pay a little now or a lot later. And by McDonald's. What you want is what you get at McDonald's today. Well, here is the leader of the race, Mark Martin, very closely pursued by Kyle Petty. And the 26 car of Brett Bodine is running ahead of Mark Martin. He's a couple of laps behind, but he almost had an encounter here a few laps ago.
And we see Kyle on the inside of Mark Martin as they come off turn. And look at Kyle. He, again, is driving the car on the apron of the racetrack. Son, the track is up above you there somewhere. Man.
Well, John Kernan is down in Mark Martin's pit with Steve Meal.
Mark slowed down quite a bit out there. What happened out there with the 26 car?
I don't know. I couldn't see it. We hadn't slowed down. It takes us a while to get going after a tire stop. We knew the 3 and the 2 would be good. They're going to run their guts out, try to get their lap back. We're having a little trouble passing lap car, but it's just racing right now. Kyle's real good, and he's been real good. They caught a caution and got caught up. We'll be okay.
That's Steve Bill. You told me earlier something about the 26 car and Mark touching, and they were just making sure apparently that Mark's car was all right. But the car has been running really well all day. Remember, they thought about making a chassis adjustment on their last pit stop, and then decided at the last moment not to. Mark is fairly pleased with the way the car is running on used tires, guys.
Well, to use Steve's words, here are the two guys that are racing their guts out. That is Dale Earnhardt and Rusty Wallace. They are still running in 13th and 14th positions. However, they are on the lead lap and well ahead of the leader, Mark Martin. There is Mark and Kyle Petty right behind, still unable to pass Brett Bodine, and we're watching from the camera mounted below Bodine's spoiler on the back.
That's the problem. Brett Bodine is running exactly the place that Mark wants to run. Brett goes in turn 1. He drifts up just a little bit, but not enough that Mark is able to get underneath him. And watch Kyle again as they come off turn 4. Now we can see him. He's a little bit too close to Brett. Kyle uses the apron of the racetrack in turn 4 like nobody else. Now watch Brett. He goes up just a little bit, but not enough room to get that Ford alongside of him. Now here comes Kyle. Takes a look. Is he going to pass him? Try.
Yeah, Mark's going to let him. He figures maybe Kyle can get up there and make that pass, and he'll follow him. Good smart move by Mark Martin. I'll tell you, he is driving a very smart race. Look how low Kyle Petty's running those turns compared to the others.
Well, that's the apron down there, Ned. He's not on the racetrack there.
Man, he likes it.
He's still looking out of the back of Brett Bodine's car. Now Kyle drives up alongside. He did get alongside. But Mark, come on, buddy, come on.
Well, now that the leader has passed him. Brett won't fight anymore because he was trying to stay out there hoping for a caution. But now that the leader's gone around, it didn't matter about the second place car.
So Mark's strategy worked perfectly there.
Yeah, sure did.
Letting Kyle Petty go by. Now he's got a problem.
Now he's got to pass Kyle Petty. That's right. That isn't where he wants to be. Because there are 5 bonus points for leading the most laps.
I think that's one reason Dale Earnhardt tried to lead as many as he should early in the race.
We talked about the momentum that Mark Martin has this season. Actually, he has been in the top 10 in his last 15 races dating back to last year.
You know, one of our spotters just pointed out something that's really interesting, man. All the cars on the lead lap are pitting on the front straightaway.
Well, that just points out the point that we made early at the open of the show, that it's a big disadvantage pitting on the back stretch. However, as John Kernan mentioned, there's not a big disadvantage as long as the race goes green.
And now we see Rusty Wallace, Dale Earnhardt racing each other, and I think this is for bragging rights.
It is for position, but I think it's more for bragging.
Exactly.
Well, they got to be careful and not use up those tires so much. They see Kyle Petty coming back there, and I'm sure that Rusty wants to get around Earnhardt. He figures he's a little faster right now. He knows Kyle Petty's going to be moving in a hurry. However, he's still got quite a distance back to Kyle, but you can see it there on the screen. But their tires have been going away quicker than some of the others. So
yeah, both these guys have been pitting at exactly the same time in about 50 laps, where Mark Martin, some of the other guys, have been able to run 60 laps.
We're at lap 125 right now.
As the race wears on, tire wear will get a little bit better. So Earnhardt and Rusty might be able to stretch those stops from 50 laps to 70 laps, even 75 before the thing is over. And once again, Rusty gets position on Earnhardt down the back straightaway. Will Earnhardt back off, give him the position?
No way.
oh, yeah, back off. He's making Rusty use up his tires. Running on the inside, you'll use up more tires than you will running a little bit higher.
We have seen these two drivers race against each other so many times in the past. Kind of enjoy it, I think.
Oh, yeah, they're getting a kick out of it. No doubt about it. But I don't know how smart it is to be racing this hard, using up those tires. Here comes Rusty again. He's going to try him going into turn 3. Rusty, almost not going to yes, he is. By golly, he fooled us. He did back off that time.
Made a liar out of
watch
you,
Rusty go higher and hard, try to get under it, but he can't do it.
Earnhardt's car pushing just a little bit too much to be able to turn the car and get under Rusty. Otherwise, he certainly would have tried it.
So the number 2 car of Wallace is now 13th, and Dale Earnhardt is 14th. Kyle Petty remains the leader here at Darlington. Will be after 131 laps. Kyle Petty, Mark Martin, Dale Jarrett, Hut Strickland, and Ricky Rudd. And our thanks again to the Family Channel Blimp for providing the overheads. Now, at midnight tonight Eastern Time, join us for same-day delayed coverage of the Grand Prix of Brazil Formula One race. That event was held earlier today. And let me just say that it is one of the races that you will not forget. And Michael Andretti, the American participating in Formula One, had another misfortune. That's all we're going to say. But you won't want to miss it. Tonight at midnight Eastern Time, that's 9 o'clock on the West Coast, the Grand Prix of Brazil Formula One race from Sao Paulo, Brazil. And there, once again, is the egg-shaped layout of Darlington. And the Family Channel Blimp is lazily hovering overhead. Alan Burrows at the controls up there.
I think I'll get on a plane and fly to L.A. to watch that race. I can't stay up till midnight.
Set your tape recorder then. Let me see. If you left now, would you think? There's Kyle. He's the leader.
And he is gaining on Dale Earnhardt. Rusty Wallace has driven away from Earnhardt since we saw their little battle a while back. But you can see how close Kyle Petty is coming to Dale Earnhardt, and that will put him a lap down. And Rusty Wallace knew that. That's why he raced Earnhardt so hard, to try to get him around, get around him, and so he can pull away from him.
I tell you what, I didn't realize Rusty had such a good race car, but he does have a very, very fast race car.
And again, for those of you just joining us, the reason that Earnhardt and Rusty Wallace are almost a lap behind is because they got caught with a yellow on a pit stop. We had a yellow because of a crash involving Jeff Gordon. They had just made their pit stops, and everybody else had not made a stop, so they almost went a lap down, and they're trying to stay on the lead lap.